So I've just recently finished my latest piece of music, Things We Leave With Them. And the inspiration really for this piece of music, it was probably because of COVID-19 and the lockdowns, because we went out walking a lot more to do our exercise, because to be frank, there was not actually that much else we could do, especially in the first lockdown. And essentially I was just sat down, as many people do, and just started playing around with the piano, and I created the theme. And it was actually then when I added some reverb and some synth behind it that it started to have this really nice kind of dreamy, wavy kind of feel. And it was from that feeling that actually the inspiration came for me initially, which was that there's a man or a woman sat down on a bench, essentially just watching life go by. Whether that's watching some, like a family in the far distance just playing ball and having a really nice time, or cycling past, or walking their dog. I mean, the idea, it didn't matter what it was, but it was essentially watching life go by, and they just sat down on the bench. And from that point of view, moving forwards, I then felt, after conversations with the director Daniel Beaton, that actually there's even more to it from the way the song was going. And we then came to, I think both myself and Dan came to the same conclusion ultimately, which was, it's almost like a song about reflection, because it's when you get to a certain point, whether it's in a relationship or, sitting on that bench and reflecting, that there might be something like a photograph that you look at, or an image you see, or an object you feel, that then reminds you of some good times, or reminds you of something in the past that you want to get back, or you want to move on from. And I think from there, it was very important to me, writing this piece of music, and from the discussions with Dan, was very much that as the piece grew and the song progressed, we get to a point where we change from this kind of dreamy state and actually have more warmth to it. And to get that warm vibe was then to add more colour to what the air was, because during the dreamy stage there was a lot of air in there for the purpose of trying to give it that kind of atmospheric feel and ambience feel, whilst then when the drum beat begins and the second cello section starts, you can then start to hear basses and ensemble strings start to develop in the background, background, which then allows the colour to come in, and then you can almost imagine during that stage that someone's getting ready to either get up from the bench and start walking again because they see a light at the end of the tunnel, and try and give it that kind of symbolism. And it was really important to me that we did make it warm, and that the song did have that kind of climax to it, to have like an arc to the end of the journey, and then that obviously then led to the end, where ultimately, just for a split second at the very end of the song, there's again that sense of reflection, where you can then reflect, as there's no piano, there's no strings, it's just the air is back, but you can hear a slight drum beat happening. And I really do feel that this song to me was really about reflecting and about finding a way forwards. You know, one of the things I really love about film score is the way that it makes someone feel. So, you know, if you listen to a piece of music, you may feel happy, sad, or angry. And I think it was really important to me when I put this piece of music together, like I mentioned before, that I wanted to kind of make the audience feel like you're on this kind of journey where you start off and you're seeing the world go by, and then by the end it's almost like reflecting on what you had, but you're still kind of aiming towards the light. And it was really important because obviously this is a new concept for me, because the way I normally write pieces of music is, you know, you have some film footage there, or you might visit a set and then, you know, you get a bit of inspiration, but for this, because it, you know, starting off like a song, but then it became music for a film. And you know, I had some really interesting conversations with the director Dan, who, you know, I've worked with for a number of years, and you know, his vision and creative approach I've always admired and been inspired by. And I knew, you know, with COVID-19 it would be a struggle to go to a set and see what they're doing. So, but I knew I was in really good hands by giving him this piece of music and not really tying him down with any kind of creative restraints. I wanted complete freedom, and I'm really glad that he went in the direction he went with, because, you know, I had an original idea in my head, but he's taken that to a whole new level, and I really, really hope that the audience enjoys this, because it really is such a beautiful piece. I just want to take an opportunity just to also thank his wonderful crew, who's put a lot of work in on the artistic shots, because those shots, when I saw it for the first time, and you know, you could see almost like two faces frame by frame, and I just thought, wow, how clever is this? But it wasn't just that, because I know partially that'll be to do with the direction from the director, but the imagery and cinematography, lighting, it was just really, really all in all, very, very beautiful. You know, I was really over the moon when Dan sent me this footage on the draft shot. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, the acting by Anie and Dan was really, really beautiful. I know that word beautiful is being said quite a lot, but it really, really was. And you know, ultimately, I just really, really hope that everyone appreciates it and the work that's gone into this. Not necessarily for the music, but, you know, the actual film itself, I really, really couldn't be happier with what's come through.
The idea of having the watch and the bracelet play more of a crucial role in the story was a very last-minute decision. I left the first day thinking, I don't know what I have, because I was in a very odd feeling position of acting in it and also directing, so I wasn't too sure what I had. I wasn't too sure if I had bits to edit together. I was kind of relying on my crew, who did a fantastic job adopting what I needed and the lighting setups and really getting on board with my ideas. So the title came from the idea of the watch and the bracelet playing more of a role in the story and in the relationship. So that was a very last minute decision. I kind of like it, and it's fortunately it came to me just in time. The image, I really liked the border that we created on the frame. So it's a 2:1 frame, and then each shot is 1:1 with a border on it, so it's even tighter. And I really like that it separates them, but you still feel a connection. They still look like they're in the same scene, but they're shrouded by this dark void. It's almost like a spotlight that they're being pushed into this decision. I think the music was dreamlike. The very first draft, you didn't really know when it ended, and you didn't know when it finished, especially listening to it on loop. It just kind of flowed, and I tried to listen to it in different scenarios, listening to it while I was walking, on a bus, on a train, at night, first thing in the morning, just to give where is this music meant to be taking place? Because when you don't have an image, I didn't really have many restrictions from Sammy about where it could take place or how the story unfolded. So I tried to find the best scenario for me to listen to that music. What environment suited the music? I just have to further extend my appreciation and thanks, and wondering how my crew just worked so well together yet again. I don't really do storyboards. I if I feel something needs to be changed on the spot, I'll change it. But they're totally open to just going with the flow of the scene and keeping up with me, which I do very well. And of course, Anie is exceptional to work with. And she really latches into a character and latches into an emotional memory, a journey. The wonder she can bring out, the tiniest movements. This is a very subtle piece for an actor, and she really brings it to the screen, and makes it a unique piece, even more so. That it's not just about the music, it's about the performance as well. It brings the whole piece into one film. All the footage you're watching in this B-roll has been shot by my crew, who I gave maybe a 2-minute tutorial on how to use this little camcorder thing. And they're not used to really using that, they're used to using the big cinema camera. But yeah, I got back home and I started editing this B-roll. I just thought, they're doing a good job. It has a nice documentary kind of feel to it, and they're capturing moments. There's no hesitation, there's no kind of fear to just leave it on the tripod and not to touch the camera. They're moving through the scene. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think seeing the final piece, I'm happy I made those last minute decisions for the performance, for my crew, for Sammy, and myself. I think it feels right, and I think it feels unique, and it feels appropriate to the music.